Hey everybody, Shawn Clement here from Wisdom in Golf, on location in our home course at the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center. And today, as you can see, I've got a skipping rope in my hand. No, this is not an imitation of Rocky Balboa. This is an experience for you to achieve, to put into the memory, right? One of the people I'd like you guys to go out on YouTube and check out, his name is Jeff Hawkins. And you'll see, if you search Jeff Hawkins on intelligence or Jeff Hawkins brain, this guy is the leader, the worldwide leader, he and his team out in Berkeley, California. And he was the first to really lay out the groundwork, the theoretical groundwork as to the anatomy of the brain and how the brain works. And so, you know, they talk about the neocortex. You got the lizard brain, your brain stem, and then you got on top of that your mammal brain or the limbic brain, and it's more of the emotional, for emotions. And then on top of that, you've got the neocortex, the wrinkly part of the brain. And the neocortex is basically a memory system. And it uses the eyes, the ears, the taste, all that stuff, all these senses to build a model of the world, okay? So you've built a model of the world insofar as driving your car, living in your house, and maybe doing gardening or whatever. So if let's say I was going to pick up this ball right here and my hand were to go through that volleyball, my brain would definitely say, hey, something's wrong. This is not part of the deal. This is not the model of the world that I built. So in this memory-based system, then the brain can go back and it can basically identify the anomalies or identify the similarities. And there are so many similarities to the golf swing. How many analogies have we had so far? We've talked about medicine balls and skipping a stone and hammering nails and cutting grass with a grass whip and axes and hammers and you name it. Well, today we've got skipping the rope. Now the reason why I like skipping the rope is because it is, again, you're a gravity expert, and we're here to build. Now, when I do these particular analogies, it's not for you just to watch. You need to get up, go to the store, buy a $5 skipping rope, and experience it for yourself, and then you'll be able to put two and two together for the golf swing. So if I just start twirling the skipping rope, I can feel how gravity is grabbing a hold of this rope. And I can see where it's passing. Now, whatever object I want in the way of this, let's say that volleyball, I can get a little closer and notice how the rope starts to droop and it starts to slap the volleyball. Now, I can get a little closer than that and start clipping the tee. I can clip the tip of the tee, or I can go down and cut the majority of the tee. So if we were to look at distance to ball, here's a fantastic example of distance to ball. If I get too far away, then centrifugal force is twirling my arm club unit above the ground. I got to get a little closer so it starts to droop toward the ground. So if I'm hitting an iron off the grass, I want the base of the rope to drag along the grass. Now, if I'm hitting, let's say, a fairway wood, I want to just nip the grass and go along the ground. And if I'm hitting driver, I'm going to back up a little bit more. There you go. And I'm going to just nip the tip of the tee, okay? So here's my dandelion in disguise. Now imagine if this rope was, had a very sharp leading edge to it, like in the James Bond movies, the wires that they used to use, around people's necks. So I've got my wire and I want to go cut the dandelion stem. So I'm going to get close enough, there you go, to cut my dandelion stem. So I'm basically experiencing gravity right now, and then my body will adjust itself in relation to where this needs to pass. So if I was going to create my example now, I've got my new Nike wedge, and we're going to talk about these wedges in another show. We're going to really like these wedges. So I have a specific distance between myself and the ground. So if I reach out for the ball right now, this way, Now, there's no way that this is going to be able to skip the ground. So I got to get closer and closer and closer until, there we go. That's where it needs to be. So now, with my wedge, I got to be about this distance from me and the golf ball so that the sole of the club has access to cutting the stem of the dandelion. So I see the sole of the club, I see the dandelion stem, and I feel that when I give it to gravity, that the sole of the club is going to cut through that dandelion stem. So that would be my sand wedge or my lob wedge. Now if I take my 6-iron, and I'll do that again, you'll notice now it's got to be here. So the distance between me and the ball. So now from this position here, notice dynamically my hands are a little bit further away from my body, and it still feels like I have access to cut through the dandelion stem. So perfect cut through the dandelion stem, absolutely super contact with the club. And if I wanted to hit the ball off the tee, well, there you go. So now, clipping the ball off this tee, just a hair closer, there we go. Now it feels like the position I need to clip the ball off the tip of the tee with this 6-iron. So I feel like the sole of the club is going to clip the very tip of the tee. Again, super solid contact. So the brain just made a model of the world, and it says, well, I feel gravity tracking my skipping rope, and I feel like the sole of the club is going to skip the ground. Now notice if I reach a bit, that's perfect for the tip of the tee, but if that ball was on the ground, I'd be topping or sculling or whiffing it. See how that works now? So then when I get to the driver, I won't have any room off this mat, but you get the idea. I want now to clip the ball off the tip of the tee. So it feels like I'm going to catch the tip of the tee on my way up. So if I had my skipping rope here, and I can position the bottom of the arc of the rope, if I'm hitting an iron, I want to position the bottom of this rope just in front of the tee. If I'm hitting a driver, I want to position the bottom of the arc just slightly behind the tee so I catch the tip of the tee on the way up. So you notice how many things I can do with a skipping rope? So if you've got a wonderful daughter like I do, or you want to go out and skip some rope with your wife, just set up some tees on the ground. Both of you take the skipping rope together and have a team effort into cutting the tees that you see on the ground. So we'll finish with the driver. If I put the center of my skipping rope where the ball is, now I'm going to tend to hit the bottom of the tee and come up over here. I want to feel like I'm clipping the tip of the tee on my way up. So you can see right now, the tip of the tee is going to get caught on the way up. I'm going over that keep out sign. Now it feels like I'm catching the tip of the tee exactly where I want to on the way up. If I default to the ball, now I'm going to bust the tee, pop fly, make beautiful scuffs on my $400 driver, which is obviously not what you want. So if you have any questions regarding this, let's have a chit chat in the forum. But again, this is a fantastic analogy that's helped a lot of my students in the last couple of weeks, and I know it's going to help you too. We'll see you in the next show.